Hi. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody watching Revere Cable TV as well. This is an opportunity for you to get a taste of the 11 people running for 5 counselor-at-large positions in Revere in the election during in November. And I have here from my, let's see, this is my right, and we'll go around this way. We have Billy Bell, self-employed entrepreneur, former counselor. Albert Terminello Jr., Massachusetts Department of Public Safety employee, photojournalist. Cheryl Wittridge, candidate. Everybody had a choice of saying who they wanted to be described as, so I'm just repeating that. Counselor at Large John Correggio. Candidate Jessica Ann Giannino. Candidate Brian Arrigo. Counselor at Large, wait a minute, next to Brian is, Counselor at Large Robert Haas, who is listed here as John Correggio, but we won't mistake Bob Haas for John. Candidate Victoria Laws, candidate Stephen Morabito, Counselor at Large Anthony Zambuto, candidate Mike Carter, who's the owner of Logan Taxi. And I suppose we could give everybody a cheer for being here this evening. And while most knowing Revere voters and people who pay attention to politics understand the lay of the land, this year is very unique because there are 2 open seats in the counselor at large position, which means it's a very unique election year. 2 open seats is a dream come true for people trying to become a counselor at large. For when seats aren't open, it means that hopefuls are running against a full slate of incumbents, and the incumbents all have large bases. And if you try to get into that where there's 5 votes for 5 places with all those bases coming out, it's problematic to become a counselor at large. So this year is a very fascinating year because we have 2 open seats. And the main questions about those open seats is the late George Colella was capable of scoring 5,000 or 6,000 votes in one of these races, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 votes, depending upon how many people come out. He's gone. Who gets his vote, if anyone? We have Dan Rizzo and George Rotundo running for mayor, and they both have their bases. And who's going to get Dan Rizzo's votes? Who gets George Rotundo's votes? And that's really a question of who's close with those people and who's inclined to give the incumbents running now, beside their base, these votes. So that being said, just want to welcome everyone here tonight. Want to give a few thank yous to the Revere Public Schools, to Superintendent Paul Dakin, the Rumney Marsh Principal Cindy Evans, custodians Bob Rollins and Diane Can, and Revere TV, especially Bob Dunbar and Paul Amato. And we'd also like to thank, and I think my colleague Seth Daniel from the Revere Journal will be thanking all the young people here who, it was extraordinary to be welcomed to the school by young people all dressed in shirts with the emblem of the Rumney Marsh School. And that's very impressive, and it's appreciated. So ladies and gentlemen, I would ask you to rise, if you can, for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd ask you also to just stand for one moment and give a moment of silence, a justified moment of silence to all the brave men and women in the United States Armed Forces who've given their lives in the 10-year war in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Thank you, and let's get started.
All right, we'd like to thank everyone for being here. I'm Seth Daniel from the Revere Journal newspaper, and I want to go over a few of the guidelines for people at home, and also if anyone here might not be clear on them. We've drawn prior to the forum to determine who sits where. It's sort of random. According to that order of seating, each candidate will answer a question posed to them from a list of 22 questions that they have had in their possession since last Friday evening. Now, each candidate will answer 2 questions, and they will have 2 minutes per question. We have a timekeeper over here, Carrie Schumann from the Revere Journal. We also have an assistant who will be from the Rumney Marsh Academy, who will be holding up a 30-second reminder. You can look at her. She will let you know when there are 30 seconds left. Like I said, we did just draw, so there is some element of surprise, though everyone has had the questions. For those at home who are technologically savvy, we're going to be tweeting on the internet during the debate. You can tune into that at www.twitter.com, Revere Journal. You can tune into that at any time. We try to update it as much as possible. I do want to say something before we get started. We are here because the candidates asked for it. Some of the candidates, a number of them, said we'd like to have some sort of a forum. And we hadn't planned on it, but we decided to put one together, and you guys did ask for it. I want to say that we ask that you stick to the question that's asked of you. Don't use your time as a springboard to talk about something else. For the voters out there, if they're evaluating the candidates, all of the candidates here have been asked to stick to the question. That was part of the rules. And if a candidate cannot stick to the simple rules of debate, you should keep in mind that maybe they can't stick to the rules of the City Council as well. So let's keep that in mind, and let's have a very good debate. Let's be ladies, and let's be gentlemen. That said, let's get down to it, and we wish you all luck. Our first candidate is William Bell.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Our first question is this. It says, many municipalities are going to a trash fee program for collecting garbage. Revere has adopted a stricter trash ordinance recently, but does not yet have a fee. Do you think a trash fee is inevitable for Revere? And if not, can you pay for increasing costs without raising taxes? And I would remind you, speak into the microphone so everyone can hear you.
Thank you, Seth. Before I start, I'd like to thank the Revere Journal and staff, the members of the audience that took the time to come out here tonight, and the viewing public. There won't be any trash fee increase with my vote. What I would do instead is try to eliminate unneeded jobs in the budget, get rid of the no-show employees that are getting paid in the city of Revere for doing nothing, including insurance benefits, and try to find other innovative ways to raise money. You're looking at the only private citizen, the only challenger that went to the budget meetings, chaired by Councilor Zimbudo. You have a $138 million budget plus state and federal grants. Not one penny was cut out of that budget, or one penny was recommended by the City Council to the mayor to transfer needed funds in other areas. I raised the question of what $500,000 was in the auditor's budget herself. She said she didn't have the figures in front of her and she'd get back to me. Well, this is October, she never got back to me. I really believe the city of Revere's costs are too high comparable to other cities and towns. All they do is tax and spend, spend and tax. There was a movement to increase parking, have parking meters on Revere Beach. Yours truly opposed that. I didn't think that was fair to the public. You can't start raising rates more to the general public. Most people I talk to, and I've talked to quite a few throughout the community, are fed up. They're tired. They want change. They want innovation. They don't want bickering at the council meetings. And by the way, it's a pleasure having a microphone without being interrupted, as I'm often interrupted at the city council meetings. And I will follow the rules, but the councilors themselves should follow the rules, especially when they let the president speak when he's supposed to be sitting down. Thank you.
Second question goes to candidate Al Terminello. Though crime statistics show that there has been no major spike in crime in Revere, there have been several troubling incidents over the past year or so. Meanwhile, car breaks seem to be never-ending, and other property crimes are certainly up. Drugs have also begun to wreak havoc on the city in a new and different way, particularly with dangerous drugs like heroin and OxyContin. Is there anything the council can do to help turn the tide of crime and drug use in the neighborhoods?
Thank you very much, Josh. Before I answer the question, I too would like to thank everybody that's here, Revere TV, the Revere Journal, and everybody that's watching this on the TV, and obviously everybody that's here spending their time with us tonight. Well, in regards to people, the car breaks, if you listen to the council meeting last week, the Chief Reardon actually stated that even though you do arrest these people because of them being on drugs, they let them go because they figure that they are part of a disease. Unfortunately, I understand that they do have a problem, but their problem is actually going back into this city and taking dollars out of our pockets and causing our insurance rates to go up by breaking into their cars and stealing our property that we pay big money for, and to feed their drug habit. So I understand that these people do have a problem, but that problem is escalating to a fact that it's costing us thousands and thousands of dollars in insurance rate hikes. As a city councilor, we cannot be part of the Revere Police or any other police department's job. We're not here to micromanage their jobs or to interfere with what they do. But as a city councilor, I will make sure that they have all the tools and information available to them, and I will strive to put new legislation through this city to make stronger mandates that these people who do break into your cars and steal your money, even though they do feel that they have a sickness, should be fiscally responsible for that and pay us back. Thank you very much.
Next question goes to candidate Cheryl Whitridge. The question is, the police department has been in the news for a number of negative reasons in the last few years. Some on the council have advocated a reorganization of the department and the issuance of a reminder about who is in charge. Do you think the police need a top-to-bottom reorganization, or do you believe that the problem is simply a shortage of manpower?
I'd like to start off by saying good evening, everyone, and thank you to Revere Journal. The answers to the question are yes, because in any department with employees, it is good policy every so often for people who move on and make changes in their lives, or promotions, and also who retire. It is necessary through the whole police department. We may not have enough officers, but we also have a majority of officers who are working and doing their best of what is required of their responsibilities to their profession. Unfortunately, the number of officers has nothing to do with misrepresenting the people or the Revere Police Department. We need to know these officers who are working in protecting our community are competent to their profession but have compassion and enough to maintain for everyone in our community. The hiring process is an important factor. Thank you.
John Correggio gets the next question. Revere Beach is about to change in a major way over the next few years with the coming Waterfront Square project. Tracts of long, undeveloped land will most likely begin to be built upon at Revere Beach in the coming years. So far, that change has been mostly between the mayor and the state, and to some extent the federal government. The council hasn't had a large role in the process to date. What role should the council play in this major development in Revere? Do you think the development is viable as it is planned now, or should it take a different course?
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Revere TV, Revere School Department, and the Revere Journal for allowing me to participate in the candidates' night. As far as construction on Revere Beach and other construction throughout the city, I think the City Council should be definitely involved with that, with the mayor. You've got millions and millions of dollars of construction, different types of construction being built through the city. We have to look at also the traffic impact in the city, safety issues, and the other thing is union labor, which I support 100% on construction. We also have the gaming and slots that just got passed, and that's going to be a reality, and that's going to be part of the construction. So I feel the council should play a major role in all types of construction in the city, and looking out for the neighborhoods, what impact it has on the neighborhoods. Thank you very much.
The next question goes to candidate Jessica Ann Janino. More than a few times, the council has faced a decision where a neighborhood issue has led or could have led to a lawsuit against the city. No one can forget the Moonlight Reader case, where an issue of conscience led to a decision by city leaders that ended up costing more than $1 million. It is likely that, if elected, you will have to decide whether to go with the will of the people or risk an expensive lawsuit. How will you handle a situation where pleasing the voters and residents will likely result in a prolonged lawsuit?
Well, I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for coming and taking time out of your Thursday night to be with us. Well, first of all, I hope it never comes to this point. I worked at a law firm for 4 years, and let me tell you, lawsuits are not fun to deal with. But I believe it's completely avoidable. A policy that I have is handling things at the lowest level possible. So if we're doing our jobs as city councilors and we're with the people, working out these issues before they come to this point, you know, really building a good relationship with local businesses and residents, this can be avoided completely. And I truly believe that in working together collaboratively with the Chamber of Commerce and with residents in the area, it'll never come to the point of a lawsuit. If in fact it does happen, it's my job to represent the people, and I'm here for the people. I will be out there getting what the people want to deal, how they want to deal with this issue, but at the same time keeping, you know, the budget and money in mind. We don't need to spend any money on lawsuits. That's the last place where we need to spend money. But I definitely believe that's an avoidable situation, and as a counselor, I will be out there in the community making every effort to avoid situations like this. Thank you.
Okay, Brian Arrigo is up next. It has been a long time since the city has shown that it has the funding and manpower to keep up with potholes and other damages to its streets. This past winter, potholes went unfilled for a good amount of time. A few years ago, Revere Street resembled a minefield. This year, Arlington Avenue was bad for months. For the average resident, it's very frustrating, and it leads to quicker deterioration of their vehicles. In today's world, is it realistic to expect quick city services like we used to have years ago? Do you have any ideas about how the city can make sure these services are carried out despite low levels of funding and short staffing?
Thank you, Josh. I'd like to first thank everybody for coming out tonight, and the folks from Revere Journal and Revere TV for broadcasting tonight's event. I've been lucky enough to actually have the opportunity to work in an office called Somerstat, which is a CityStat office that is set up in the city of Somerville. And what we do is basically work with department heads to make sure that potholes are being filled, that the police are doing their job. And having that opportunity, I think it would be a great thing if the city could bring CityStat if we could bring the CityStat to the city. And not only should residents expect it to have services and quick services, but they deserve it. And I look forward to bringing some accountability and some transparency through CitySat. I've been encouraged by the fact that both mayoral candidates have talked about CitySat, and they've talked about potentially bringing that to the city of Revere. And I would support that implementation, and I would look forward to working to make sure that every service that is provided by the city is accounted for and transparent. Thank you.
Next question goes to Councilor at Large Robert Hass Jr. As a councilor, many times one finds out about things that are going on in city government that might not be palatable to the general public. At the same time, once a part of city government, it often becomes hard to take a stand against the system, against a relative or against a friend or anything like that. How will you deal with being a whistleblower in all situations when you need to be?
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone in attendance here, Revere TV, the Revere Journal, and especially the youngsters from the Academy. Welcome. As far as being a whistleblower, I don't like that word. I myself have been in politics for a long period of time. I'm very independent. I'm not with any side in any election. I'm basically for Bob Hass and for the people. If an issue comes up that confronts me, whether it as a former mayor or as a city councilor, I do what I think I have to do. When I was mayor, we had many meetings with the various department heads, and they knew what I respected. And what I wanted was honesty and sincerity. In 8 years, we had no indictments within the city. We had nothing from the FBI, or we had nothing from the state government. All right? We ran a good, clean campaign. Now, the whistleblower. If the issue is right, without question, Bob Hass will vote for it. If it's a political issue, which the city council, within the last couple of years, it's been strictly political, and they put up these political issues to have you vote. If I find merit in any of the issues that the council presents, I will vote for it. Some people say I'm with a certain candidate, some say I'm not with another candidate. If the issue is right for the citizens, I am there for the citizens. And I will keep my word, as I have demonstrated throughout my political life. What you see is what you get. And I'm honored that you people come out here tonight, and hopefully again, January 8th, you consider me for one of your 5 votes. Thank you. Thank you.
Next question goes to Victoria Loss, and it is this. Are you satisfied with the job the public schools are doing with the city's youth? And what would you change in terms of the city's relationship with the schools?
First off, I'd like to thank the Revere Journal and the students of the Romney Marsh Academy and all the people in the audience that took time out of their day to be here, and the people at home watching. As a mother with a child in the public school system, I have to say that I think that we're doing a tremendous job with our schools, with the opening of all the new schools over the last few years that we've had. And, you know, I think that the school department's doing a great job. I'm very satisfied with the education that my daughter's getting. And I do think, as parents, that we need to take an active role in our children's education and get involved. And I think that if more parents get involved with the schools and with the quality education that our children are getting, I think that, you know, we'll be doing a lot better. But I have to say that I have no complaints about the education my daughter is getting, and I think that she's getting a very good education, and I think that she'll be getting into a great college. Thank you.
Thank you, Victoria.
Next question goes to candidate Stephen Morabito.
Thank you.
There have been stories and confirmed sightings of the FBI at City Hall now for the past year or more. The Ethics Commission seems to be involved with the city with some frequency. There is a general perception, somewhat validated by federal documents, FBI documents, that things are not always done above board in Revere City government. Is municipal corruption a major problem? How do you plan to root it out and find any corruption in Revere City government that you might find?
First, I'd like to take this moment to thank everyone for being here and the Revere Journal for hosting this event. Let's take a look at this question. First, they mentioned stories, somewhat validated FBI documents. Where are the documents? This is nothing official. This is all hearsay. Any wrongdoing by city government should be dealt with the proper authorities. When we go back to the FBI investigation, if there is any FBI investigation, any indictments will be handed down to the district attorney and the courts. This has nothing to do with the city council. And any wrongdoing, as I said before, with any member of city council, it should be reported immediately. Zero tolerance policy. Thank you.
Tony Zambuto.
Good evening, everyone. I too want to thank the Revere Journal, Revere TV, the principal of the Rumney Marsh Academy, and especially the students for hosting us and participating here tonight with us.
Here's your question, Tony. City workers, firefighters, and police officers pay more of their health insurance than they used to, but studies show that their pay and benefits don't mirror that of the private sector. Do you think the present situation can continue, or would you move to bring city government more in line with the private sector?
Thank you, Josh, for the question. First of all, I came to the City Council over 10 years ago from the private sector. I ran a construction company. I was very familiar with paying for insurance for many employees and co-pays, et cetera. One of the first shocks I had as a city councilor when I sat down with Mayor Ambrosino and looked at the budget was the fact that health insurance cost rose $1 million a year. It was unbelievable. It's a complete budget buster, and it's a fixed cost that there's no way of getting around. So I tried to work with the mayor for many years to increase the co-pays because they were ridiculously low. It was $5 for a copay and $5 for a specialist, which anybody in the private sector knows that's ridiculously low. I want to congratulate the unions, the firefighters union, the police union, the city hall union, the DPW union, all the city unions, because they made major concessions this year. We finally come into reality with reasonable co-pays. Now, they may not be quite as high as the private sector, but they're much more in line now with it, and it took a major concession. And I think everybody realizes that the economy is such that it can't sustain these fixed costs that we have every year with health insurance. They just keep rising. So I'm very grateful that we're in the position we're in now, and I think that everybody realizes that we have to stay somewhat in tune with the private sector. However, you cannot compute private sector with public sector. It's totally different. A firefighter is completely different than a construction worker, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm comfortable that we're going in the right direction, and I give a lot of credit to Mayor Ambrosino for his hard work with the unions. Thank you.
Next question goes to candidate Mike Carter. Over the past several years during the Ambrosino administration, the budget process has been very cordial. The mayor has often given guidance to the council, and the council has generally supported and gone along with the mayor's priorities at budget time. Only a few times have councilors made a fight over budget priorities. Would you seek to have the council take a more activist approach in crafting the budget, or would you prefer to let the mayor drive the budget process?
I definitely think in these rough financial times, anyone that can do anything to cut the budget, make Revere a better place with a smaller budget, they should be encouraged to speak their mind. I know I've gone through the 2012 budget. There were several things in there that I thought could be cut. The city's paying $6,200 for a brand new website. Probably due for an upgrade, but $6,200 is ridiculous. The city owns dozens of cars. I don't think one of them gets 20 miles a gallon. When you have the police department alone, obviously you want them to have very fast cars. They have 120,000 just for that department alone budgeted for gas. I think with a $139 million budget, you could wring it like a sponge and have enough pennies drop out to hire more police, fill potholes, do what needs to be done for the city. One great thing would be to cut the budget and free up money. I think I'm the only one that's advocated for this. I think every elected official in the city should be falling over each other to step up and take pay cuts to put money where it could be better used. We have councilmen making $30,000, the base pays $16,000. Every councilman gets a $480 a month expense account. Times 11 councilors, that's $63,000 a year. That's enough to hire one more police officer. If you cut the salary down to a $8,000 a year stipend for each councilman for a year, we could put a few more cops on the street, fill a few more potholes, and make Revere a better place.
Thank you. That's the end of our first round of questioning, and I think it went well so far. We're going to pause, catch our breath here. I think I'd like to thank all the Rumney Marsh Academy students who came to help us out tonight. We've got about 15 or more, including some that are covering this forum for their newspaper here at the Rumney Marsh Academy. And I'd like to take the time to highlight a partnership that the Revere Journal does have with the Rumney Marsh Academy, a journalism partnership where we work with the students, many of the students who are here tonight, and help them out if they're interested in journalism or interested in it right now. We visit their classrooms. We actually put a page frequently in our paper that's written by them, edited by them, and pretty much produced by them. They do a very wonderful job. I think everybody was impressed with them tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. All right, let's get back to it, shall we? Josh, would you start with the next question?
And do you go back?
Yeah, we'll be starting with number one again.
Okay, we have Billy Bell again. Billy, your question is, the city is under the microscope of the United States Environmental Protection Agency for Clean Water Act violations. Work is going on all over the city as a part of the consent decree forced upon Revere. Ratepayers could have to pay more than $50 million to upgrade the system over the next 10 years. How do you plan to get out in front of what is coming? And what do you plan to do to keep water and sewer rates from rising exponentially?
Thank you, Josh. Before I answer that question, I have to correct you in your opening statement. There aren't just 2 open seats on the city council at large. There are 5, because no one owns a council at large seat or a ward seat. It's the people's seats. We have, to answer your question about the $50 million in potential lawsuits, we have 1 congressman, Ed Markey, and 2 United States senators. They're getting paid very good money to represent the city of Revere and other communities. A city councilor, a part-time or a full-time, isn't in any position to resolve a $50 million problem. We have federal elected officials. I, for one, don't think in Washington they're doing their job at all. Actually, some state officials aren't doing their job either. Some of those problems coming down with the water of the states themselves. It's always the city of Revere getting banged around left and right. I would demand Congressman Markey spend some time in Revere and work on these problems that are affecting us. You know, City of Revere is getting banged away left and right from every aspect. High taxes, high fees, high salaries and expense accounts that I've been laboring upon for 4 years. As I go through the city, people say enough is enough. We want it changed. How much more can people take? We have federal officials representing us, and they should be doing their job. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question goes to candidate Al Terminello. Global Oil Partners in Revere has proposed to start shipping in ethanol via railroad train to its Lee Burbank Highway terminal. The proposal would ship in millions and millions of gallons per year using the commuter rail. Ethanol trains would sit idle in Revere on a regular basis. It is a first for the greater Boston area and certainly for Revere. Is there cause for concern about this, given some of the problems reported in other parts of the country? And do you oppose the plan? Also, do you think Global has satisfied their goodwill obligation to discuss the plan with the general public in Revere?
Thanks for the question. Well, as far as I can understand from the Revere Journal, and I haven't read the whole article today, Global Oil has actually met with the city council privately and has opted not to have a public meeting. This, I don't think, is in very good faith for the general public, carrying such a flammable substance into the city of Revere. It affects thousands of people. It affects maybe our insurance rates again. They're driving things up. Chief Doherty from the Revere Fire Department, who I have complete trust in, gave a pretty good summation at the city council. But there still leaves to be the fact that the people who pay their salaries, the people who live here, that have to raise their children in safety, should make the right to decide whether they're put in harm's way or not, whether the federal government decides that that's the way it's going to be, or any major oil company, because that's how their profits are made. I have always been, will always remain an advocate for having public meetings. People have a right to voice their opinion and tell us what they want. That's what we're here for. We work for you and nobody else. No oil companies, no politicians out from the state or from the federal government have the right to tell us how we're going to be safe in our homes or bring things into our town without at least a public meeting. I want to thank you very much, as always, Revere, for listening. Questions and comments. I'm Al Terminello, and I am running for City Councilor at large. Thank you very much.
Cheryl Whitridge, please. No matter what happens on November 8th, there is going to be a new mayor. Mayor Tom Ambrosino was very attentive to the city council and attended most every meeting over the last 10 years. Previous mayors have not attended meetings or been so close to council business. Would you advocate continuing that close relationship with the new mayor, or do you think it's time that the two branches had a little more separation?
Thank you for the question. My answer is no and yes. No, I wouldn't advocate on this matter. We all know the Mayor Ambrosino is skilled in the area of budget and business. But again, he has other responsibilities. Well, not just him, but any new mayor coming in. Being a mayor is a responsibility more in depth than the council. However, it would be to the advantage of both branches to inform each other in order to perform their duties appropriately and to advocate for the citizens and residents and taxpayers and voters of Revere.
Next question goes to Councilor at Large John Correggio. The situation with Necco Candy Company earlier this year boiled down to quite a fiasco. The state revoked their status within its economic development program. Revere, though, did not, letting the company maintain its 20-year tax break plan, called a tax incentive program. It has given pause to the idea of offering and administering such deals with businesses. Do you support offering tax breaks to businesses looking to come to Revere, and if so, how should they be structured? Also, do you think Revere needs to change the way it administers or watches its existing and future tax breaks?
First, I supported NECO for a tax break. They employ approximately 400 personnel, a lot of personnel from Revere. They contribute approximately $700,000 to $800,000 in tax revenue to the city of Revere. I support NECO. I support other commercial development in the city as far as a tax break. Revere, right now, we're suffering $5 million less in local aid, and we need to try to make that up as best as we can. So with the money we're getting on taxes from NECO and hopefully for some other businesses, we can put more police officers on the street, more firefighters, and improve the public works, increase the public works personnel to better serve the city of Revere. And I welcome other businesses to come in. Chelsea has 13 TIFs for businesses in Chelsea, tax breaks. And I'm looking at Chelsea. Chelsea's coming a long way. They have a new market basket. They have a lot of new development there. I want to see that in Revere. I want to see more commercial development and less condos. And again, I appreciate everybody for listening to me and allowing me to come to this forum tonight. And I appreciate your vote, John R. Correggio, on November 8th, number 1 on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Jessica Giannino. There have been a wide range of styles up at the council over the past several years. Some have been quiet and reserved, while others have been bomb tossers, for the lack of a better word. There are councilors who have been complete insiders and other councilors who are on the outside of the in crowd. Likewise, there have been councilors that have challenged the system repeatedly and others who felt the status quo was performing well. What kind of style up at the council chambers can the voters expect from you if elected?
I love this question because the truth is I'm neither. I am a person who believes in the foundation of politics and what it was based on, and it is an organization that's for the people and by the people, and I truly believe in being there for the people of Revere. I am not an insider. I am not a bomb tosser. I mean, I think that those are really harsh terms. What kind of person am I? I'm a person who loves what I do, and when I invest myself in something, I have passion and love for it, and that's why I'm here. I'm here because I love Revere, and I have a passion for Revere. And I want to be the voice of those in Revere who cannot be heard and who need someone on the council to represent them, and that is why I am here. You know, I grew up in Revere. I love Revere, and I believe in the old values of Revere and what we were based on, and I have so many new ideas to bring to the table that will be beneficial to everyone in the city. You know, I was a student in Revere, I'm a resident in Revere, and for my next title in Revere, I want to be your counselor at large. My name is Jessica Giannino. Thank you.
Next question goes to candidate Brian Arrigo. For quite some time, a majority of the council has been made up of an older crowd, with most in retirement or nearing retirement. Those residents who are younger or have young families don't necessarily have a strong voice of their own on the council. In some cultures, though, the elders of the community are the leaders as they are the most experienced. Do you see the lack of youth on the current council as an issue? Does age matter when representing the people of the city?
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Seth.
You're welcome.
The bottom line to this question is that I believe age doesn't matter. And the fact is that qualifications trump age any day of the week. And the fact is that I have the qualifications to be the next counselor at large. I've had the opportunity to work in the State House. I've worked in the State Senate, working on budget issues. I've had the opportunity to go down to Washington, D.C. and work for the City Council down in Washington, D.C. And I've had the opportunity to work for the city of Somerville, which has been named the best-run city in Massachusetts. And those experiences, I believe, will make me an asset on the Revere City Council. And the issues that are facing our city today are too vast to worry about age. We need people with qualifications. We need people who are going to be ready on day one. And on day one, I'm going to be ready to roll up my sleeves, work with my colleagues, and work with the new mayor to move Revere forward. Thank you.
Next question goes to Robert Haas. The City Council has just finalized the process for starting the last of the city's new schools, the McKinley School. However, just as that has happened, Superintendent Paul Dakin has come out with an urgent request for the council to find a way to build another new school. For most, the call is a shock and seems an overreach given the city's debt situation. Yet Dakin points to numbers that show the district has grown by 1,000 students in the last 10 years, and he's having trouble finding space to accommodate them as required by state and federal law. Do you support an immediate effort to build another new elementary school?
Thank you, Josh. My wife and I, my wife Juanita, we attended the Lincoln School. My 3 children attended the Lincoln School. I have a grandchild right now in the 1st grade at the Lincoln School. I've been very involved with the school system. Probably one of the most important things I did for education is, as mayor, we started the process of building 5 new schools, and this is one of the schools that was included. As a counselor, when it came up to funding that particular project, I was there, my vote was there without question for the students. Just this afternoon, Mr. Dakin had a meeting with the various PTAs at the Lincoln School, and what it come out basically is if they don't build a new school, not the McKinley's already streamlined in, a new school, okay? Class sizes may be in the vicinity of 40 to 45 students in upcoming years. No one wants that to happen. Revere has changed dramatically. As Paul indicated, we have over 1,000 new people in the last 10 years to speak of. I'm in favor of a new school, and I think the quicker we get at it, the more beneficial the city will be. Because right now, the McKinley School is online. They've secured the funding, and I think we have to go out and start looking, number one, for an area that can accommodate a school of this magnitude. And I'm for it without question. I think the people in the community be for it, and it's for the youth of the community. And I am fully invested in Revere, as my families are. Thank you.
Next question goes to Victoria Laws. The U.S. Census this year revealed that the city is nearly a majority minority community. The public schools already are a majority minority. There are more new people in Revere than ever, and more people from diverse cultures. Nevertheless, there hasn't been a lot of integration into city government or into the general community. How do you plan to represent and engage the new population, even when they may not speak the same language, share the same culture, or care about the same things?
Well, I'd like to start off by saying diversity is what has made our country the greatest country in the world. And in my job, I'm a real estate broker by trade, and I encounter on a daily basis people that don't speak English. There's a way to communicate. We're all human beings. We all want to have a good life. We all want to have a good education for our children, and we all want to have a safe environment to live in. So my overall feeling is that the city council and the mayor, we do need to get a more active role in trying to integrate the newer people that have moved into the city and embrace the different cultures, and possibly look into getting some state or federal funding for some ESL programs run by the city. I think that, you know, we need to get along as a community to keep Revere a place that we call proud that we're proud to call home. And I love the city of Revere, and that's why I'm here, and I'm looking forward to hopefully, if I have the privilege to be an ex-counselor at large.
Thank you.
Candidate Steve Morabito. There is a housing crisis in Revere right now, with more and more foreclosures every day. This has been the norm for the past several years, and the banks have said recently they plan to be more aggressive. The city just released its abandoned building list this week, and there are more than 200 on the list. The city's neighborhoods are feeling the brunt of empty homes and lower property values that come with them. What can a counselor do to help those who are losing their homes? And what can be done by the council to stabilize our neighborhoods in a time of unprecedented residential instability?
Keep it in mind, 200 of these houses, most that are bank-owned, this issue can be addressed by implementing policies that strengthen let me reiterate. The policies can be implemented by Nick Catanazzo talking about a difficult question. This is one of the most difficult questions on the list of questions we got. 200 abandoned houses. This is a national problem. This isn't just Revere. It's all over. It's such an overwhelming problem. It's hard to get a handle on. But what City Council can do is they can work with direct inspectional services to make sure these banks are keeping up with the upkeep of their house. And we can also work with neighborhood developers to make sure they take on these abandoned houses, and they already have a portfolio of houses that are not bank-owned, and what they're doing is they're renovating them and they're restoring them, just like the one on the Walden Street Fire Station. They buy them and then they restore them. But talking about a difficult question, that was very difficult. And I don't have all the answers, but I can tell you one thing. When representing you, the people of Revere, I will get you an answer. I don't have all the answers, I'll tell you that again, but I'll be damn sure to get you one. Thank you.
Next question goes to Councilor at Large Anthony Zambuto. All right, this question was actually on the list the last time around. It's still here. Casino gambling seems to be knocking on Revere's door once again. A major casino at Suffolk Downs would forever alter Revere. Traffic nightmares and social problems would be negatives, but new revenues, new jobs, and fees for the city coffers would be a positive. Do you favor casino gaming coming to Revere, and if so, do you have any demands or restrictions that you would like to see met before a casino comes in?
Thank you, Seth. I have been a proponent of casino gambling for many years now. I believe that the pros far outweigh the cons. However, as a sitting city councilor, I've been fortunate to meet with the potential developers and see the proposed plans of a hotel and resort casino at Suffolk Downs. And it does call for a lot of infrastructure repairs with flyovers all the way to past Revere. And the traffic nightmares will not be as bad. The bottom line is it means jobs for Revere, it means revenue for Revere, and I'm absolutely in support of it. And I'm hopeful that they win the bid to get the resort casino at Suffolk Downs. Having said that, I'd like to use the rest of my time to reach out to the citizens to ask them for their support to re-elect me as their city councilor. And why? Well, I came to the city council many years ago with a goal to build a police station. We achieved that. But more importantly than that, I've made many changes that will protect the citizens for years to come. One change is that you no longer can vote on a special permit the same night as a public hearing. That may not sound like a lot, but that protects the citizens against special interest, securing 8 votes and pushing through what might be a bad proposal for the city. If that was the only accomplishment I had, it was a major accomplishment.
We would like you to stick to the casino question a little bit more.
I finished my casino question. I'm on my closing. I thought that was the rules.
True.
Well, thank you.
It's a different issue talking.
It's not a different issue. I'm closing now.
Okay.
I thought you allowed a closing.
Go right
I
ahead.
misunderstood the rules.
No, it's okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, because I thought I was following the rules here.
You are.
Thank you. Okay, also I put in place that the city council can no longer expend more than $5,000 of taxpayer money without first getting a complete financial analysis. That protected against special pensions for special people and protects the taxpayers again. So I've put many things in place that will protect you for years to come. What I ask you is to help me to continue to serve you by giving me one of your 5 votes on November 8th, Anthony T. Zambuto, the 3rd name on the ballot. I want to thank you all very much, and good night.
Last question goes to candidate Mike Carter.
Thank you.
As the mayor's race has played out, there have been a number of polls conducted by telephone. One recent poll allegedly took a survey of the council's public approval rating. That rating was very low, and for the 2nd straight election, voters are calling for more decency in the council chambers. What will you do during this session to improve the image of the council and to bring a sense of unanimous professionalism that has been lacking for some time?
First, I'm sorry, I forgot to thank everybody when I was up here before. I came up here and looked out and panicked, and I'm sorry. I want to thank the Revere Journal, Revere TV, the other 10 candidates, a few especially, but I'm sure they don't want me to name them. But they all love Revere, that's why they're here. As far as the question and poor behavior in the council chambers, I would be there, and if I had to mirror someone's behavior, a particular person, I would try to be more like Bob Hass or Ward 4 Councilman Stephen Reardon. Just vote the issue and leave the politics in the hallway. I would even, for a guy I disagree with all the time, if you asked us what the weather was, you'd get 2 completely different answers. Ward 1 Councilman Richard Pender should be commended. When everyone starts yelling and screaming, he's the first one to put his hands up. The poor guy looks like a goalie stuck in the middle, getting shot from all sides. Calm down, parliamentary procedure. I have to say, though, Mr. Resnick, you're fostering an atmosphere. You're only reporting one side of bad behavior all the time. If you're going to make everything an editorial, even the question, you labeled somebody a bomb thrower, you won't say who. You talk about a phone poll, an alleged phone poll. I didn't see this phone poll. Share it with us and talk about all the bad behavior in the council chambers. The last meeting I attended, they were going to have Bill Bell dragged out and lugged, arrested. He was there to only ask for receipts. I was going next. I wanted to have the expense accounts eliminated to hire a new police officer. He just wanted receipts. You imagine how scared I was asking to have them eliminated now? Then the rest of the meeting, they're screaming at him, throwing slanderous insults. And when that finally calmed down, they're stomping around, whispering in ears. People go out in the hallway, they come in, they orchestrate someone. Just show up, represent the people, and vote the issue. That's it. Save the mayor's election for the mayor's election. Thank you.
Well, once again, we would like to thank all the candidates. I think everybody did a great job. And that's the conclusion of our program here. Once again, let's thank the schools and the Rumney Marsh Academy for letting us use the facility. And we also want to thank Revere TV for giving space and time and their own time to televise the debate live. And actually, you can catch it at other times too in the coming weeks. We hope this helped you with your choice for the election, who you're going to vote for. The election is November 8th, and we hope that many people will turn out to make their choice. Thank you very much. Good night.